Hi, my name's Dagmar, and this is my dog Tyrion. Oh, thanks, bud. Thank you. Tyrion became paralyzed a little over a year ago, out of nowhere. We've been sharing our videos on TikTok for a while, but wanted to expand to YouTube and Instagram and some other places. So I wanted to start by making a video about Tyrion's story that just kind of sums everything up, and then also our most frequently asked questions about what it's like living with a paralyzed dog, why we do the things you see us do, etc. I'm gonna put Tyrion down or else he will lick me this entire video. You will. Yeah, this is him with his dangly legs. So Tyrion became paralyzed on March 2nd, 2024. He was 6 years old, he's 7 now. I got him as a puppy when I was in college down in Los Angeles at USC, and I got him as an 8-week-old puppy. It was a drunk decision between me and the 4 other girls I lived with. And honestly, you know, it's one of those things that you probably shouldn't have done, but now looking back, I'm so glad that I did, because I can't imagine my life without him. So I had him since he was a puppy. He never had any health issues. He was a normal, regular, happy dog, except for the fact that when I picked him up, because I got him off of Craigslist, and when I picked him up, he did have a ton of fleas and ticks all over him. So although I did buy him for $300 off Craigslist, in, you know, a way I feel like I rescued him, because that obviously was not a good situation for dogs. Yeah, so I had him for 6 years. He's been with me through many moves and breakups and job changes and all the life stuff. Like, he is everything to me. And to have him throughout my 20s is like the time that I think a lot of people grow up and figure out who they really are and what they want to do. It's such a formative time, and this dog has been with me through thick and thin through all of it. So I would do anything for him. And then we moved to Idaho, to Boise, back in 2021. We've been living here ever since. And so we had been living in Idaho for about 3 years. Nothing. His health records are fine. He's always up to date on his shots. Everything's good. And then one day I was sitting on the couch, and him and I were playing fetch. He would jump onto the couch, give me his toy. I would throw it across the room. He'd jump off, go fetch it, blah, blah, blah. We'd do that a couple times. And then he got tired and he came up onto the couch. I was sitting on this side, and he went and took a nap on this side of the couch. About 15 minutes later, he woke up and he walked along, you know, on the couch over to me. And when he did that, I was watching him and I was like, I don't know, that looks kind of funny. So I put him down on the ground and told him to stay, and then I walked away and told him to come, just to see what did that walk look like. And his back legs, something was off. It wasn't obvious enough that was like, oh my God, this is a problem. It was just like, this isn't quite right. So I called my boyfriend down and said, does this look weird to you as well? And he said, yeah. And we rushed him to the vet right away, just because anytime, you know, you don't know what's going on or things look a little bit off, for me at least, my instinct is like, better safe than sorry. I'm taking him to the vet. And I'm glad we did, because while we were at the vet, we were there for like 4 or 5 hours. And, you know, within that time, Tyrion became completely paralyzed. So it only took like 4 hours from playing fetch, totally normal, to not having any use of his back legs, completely dragging, no function in them, no reaction when you touched them or squeezed them. Everyone at the vet, their first thought was IVDD, which I had never heard of. So they asked if we wanted to do surgery, or, you know, how far do we want to take this? How much are we willing to pay? And I said, do whatever you can. I don't care, do it. I will go into debt, do what you have to do. So they took him in for an MRI. They have to do the MRI to figure out which disc has burst, which disc needs to be operated on. But when they did that, they said, oh no, all of his discs are perfectly fine, but his spinal cord is severely inflamed. And they didn't know why. So that meant no surgery was necessary, because there was nothing to operate on. You can't operate to fix an inflamed spinal cord. So they ran a bunch of other tests, urinalysis, a spinal tap, blood tests, fecal tests, they did it all. And after like 2 or 3 days, they came back and told me that Tyrion has an autoimmune disease that just decided to attack his spinal cord. And what likely happened was that he had some sort of minor infection, whether it was a little ear infection or maybe a little splinter in his paw, and that infection traveled up his bloodstream, and then his body recognized it and said, attack, attack, attack. You know, when the virus just happened to be, or the infection just happened to be like near his spinal cord, I guess. Again, out of that. And so his body attacked the infection, and then because it's an autoimmune disease, didn't really recognize, okay, we've done our job, let's stop, just kept attacking. So then he ended up attacking himself, and his spinal cord just got huge. So we were able to take him home, and he was on a bunch of meds for like a month or 6 weeks maybe. It wasn't too long. That reduced the inflammation in his spinal cord. He was in a bit of pain because his spinal cord was so inflamed, but it only took a few days for the meds to work to get that inflammation down, and after that he was no longer in any pain. He has not been in any pain since. So we got him home, and at that point he's fine, he's healthy. The doctor or the vets told me that an autoimmune disease like this, it typically has one big like outburst the way it did, and after that it's pretty unlikely that it'll ever act up again. So Tyrion has an autoimmune disease, but the likelihood of us seeing it flare up in a way that was so damaging like it was the first time is pretty unlikely, thankfully. I don't understand it. I don't know why. Okay, ask a neurologist, but that's what they told me. So the damage has been done. We're home. And now it was just a matter of adjusting to paralyzed life, which was really, really difficult in the beginning. You know, I was 20 years old when I got this dog. I was 27 at the time of his paralysis. You know, I don't have kids yet. I'm just out here living my life, and now I didn't expect to be dealing with what we had to deal with. I was really sad about it, and I was really depressed, and it got to me, you know, seeing this dog who I have loved for years and years, who's been by my side for a really long time, now being so incapable of doing the things that he loves to do. It just broke my heart. And thank God Tyrion did not have the same reaction. He struggled for a few weeks trying to figure out how to move around with this new body and these new abilities, or lack of abilities. But after that, and then I think too, once we got off most of the medication that was making him a bit lethargic or tired, after those, you know, meds were done, his personality sprang back to life. And I was, you know, sitting in bed or sitting on the couch crying, feeling sorry for him, and he would just drag his little way up to me and look at me like, hey, what's up? Are we gonna go for a walk? Do you wanna play fetch? Let's go to the park. And he just had the same happy energy that he's always had. So I needed, you know, I don't know if I needed it, but it was really helpful for me to see that from him, because it made me look inside and say, okay, stop feeling so bad for this dog that doesn't feel bad for himself. And once I was able to do that, I was really able to start finding the joy in the rest of it, and how cool of an opportunity it has been to get to learn all these new things. Because of course I dove in and researched as much as I could and wanted to learn as much as I could, because the vets, they don't really tell you. They kind of give you a diagnosis and say good luck, but I didn't fully understand it. So I took the time to read everything I could and watch all the videos that I could and learn as much as I could, so that I could wrap my head around what was going on and what to expect in the future. And then we started posting on TikTok, and that's honestly changed my life, because I was so depressed and upset. And then we started connecting with people who had also gone through this, who were sending, you know, really uplifting and inspirational messages to me and telling me that I got this and that I'm doing a great job. And I needed to hear that, because I sure was not feeling that way in the beginning. And we have met now and connected with so many people who have gone through this, who were, able to give me advice. And then now to the point where we're 1 year in, a little more than 1 year in, and I have people every day messaging me for advice. And I feel really lucky to have the ability to hopefully, potentially help these people or give them some perspective or share some knowledge or a little tip or trick here. Like, it has given me a really cool sense of purpose. And we're lucky. I feel very lucky to have the platform that I do and to be able to help others, because nobody was really there to help me in the beginning, not until I started putting myself out there and looking for it. So it feels really good now to be able to help. Sorry, I just had to take a little wine break because I was getting a little emotional thinking about those early days, and I hadn't really mentally gone there in a long time, and felt through and remembered how hard that really was. So if you are going through a similar thing, which you probably are, because I don't know who else is on YouTube listening to someone talk about their experience with a paralyzed dog. Again, I just thought he was about to jump off the bed and I'd have to go rescue him. So it's, there's a lot of little things. Yeah, so if you're watching this, you probably, I would imagine, have either gone through this or are going through this with your animal. If that's you, my heart breaks for you. I know how hard it is and how emotional it is, but it does get easier. It really does. And it does get better over time. You get into a routine. Things that at first seemed so difficult and so impossible become the norm. I think and I'm a little scared to make this comparison, but probably kind of similar to the challenge of having kids, and you have a baby and your world turns upside down because everything changes and everything's new, and because it's new, it's so hard. I'm not saying this is as hard as that, but it's a similar whirlwind of new things and new challenges that just hit you like a sack of bricks, and you just keep going anyways, because what other choice do you have? So I did not get to the point where I talk about our most frequently asked questions, so I promised to do a video on that soon, because we didn't even talk about the realities of taking care of a paralyzed dog and what that looks like day to day, and I want to talk about that, and hopefully it'll be helpful to some people who are new to it. So thank you, and I'll see you guys soon.